Good afternoon, folks. Today I kind of want to talk about a subject that's, maybe a little different for everybody. I'm talking about archery releases. And when I go to the range, it doesn't matter whether I'm at full draw or if I'm down there at Bawani or even if I'm in my own home on the farm shooting, it seems like I get more and more youth these days that are kind of caught up into the aspects of the releases. They think the release is going to fix everything. That's not always the case, and I think all of the experienced bow hunters and those that do tack and 3D archery, and even those that do indoor, 20-yard standing, 3 spots and so forth in the Vegas style, all can state that a release can help you, but it also can hurt you. And then when we get into that topic, oftentimes I find that the discussion towards me as to what I use and why I use it and what works well, especially for the kids, especially when we start getting into releases. And I like to kind of address that today in this video and see if I can answer it. The first thing I'd like to do is sit down and show you what I use and why I use it, and then try to, at least get the main points across. And hopefully in this video by the end, you'll kind of have an understanding of why I use what I use, and it'll make sense to you. And if not, well, I at least gave it my best shot. It's always a little difficult to do this in front of camera because I'm used to doing it more in front of students. I start with, 10, 12-year-old kids and work my way up to 17, 18-year-olds. And yes, I've got a few adults that'll pick my brain too. But, most of those people at that point are either just in it for the sport of hunting, or they're in it for the love of the target, or let's be honest, they're just in it because their kids are in JOAD or something else, right? So 4-H, scouting, whatever. So we're just trying to make them all better archers, folks. I have that as kind of a passion, and I think there are ways to make it better when it comes to the releases. And let's go through that a bit. I want to show you here what I'm using. So let's get up and show you. All right, so here are some of my releases I wanted to show you. This happens to be the Stan Onyx Clicker. And if you plan to shoot different sports like archery and different types of archery with different releases, using the same brand and style between the releases creates uniformity. So as you can see, the Stan Clicker here holds on to your bow line, so you can let it just hang on the bow when you're hunting. Notice here, this is the Stan Resistance. It is not a clicker version, but it's the same style, same finger holes, same weight almost, and it too, when you click it onto your bowstring, stays on and stays in place, which is absolutely what you want. You want it to stay in place. That creates uniformity, which is perfect. So choosing a release that fits your sport, for example, a release that hangs on the line for hunting in the trees, and create uniformity between these two releases. Or using a pair of different types of clickers. This happens to be the hinge. This is the hinge with a clicker in it. If you use this for target, and then you use the other clicker that I just showed you before for target, they both have the same click, same feel, same weight. This is the index finger, and it also has a clicker in it, so it creates uniformity even though it's a totally different style. So another point here is, if you can, is set them up with the same hand angles, same finger holes, same weight, and it adds consistency. And that's what I've done here with these different stands, this being the hinge on the end, which I use more for target. The other two I can use more for hunting. So here I kind of wanted to walk you through what I mean by uniformity and consistency. I'm not saying you have to buy all stands, that's not the point. But if you listen here to this index finger, you can hear the click in it, and then you can see that that tells me I'm really close, and then I can really slow down that motion and try not to punch that trigger. Now that click I get used to in this index for when I want to hunt and stuff, and then when I switch gears over to attack event or I'm hunting with my thumb release, I can have that same click, that same feel. That creates a lot of uniformity between it. As I switch here to the handhelds, if you want to call it that, instead of the wrist action ones, the uniformity can even be closer. So I'm going to start here with the Stan Onyx clicker. The Onyx clicker in this one on the thumb drive, I've got the big barrel on it. I've got all 4 fingers on it. It's the same size. It's a large. So all mine are larges. All mine are set up with the 4 fingers. So they all feel very, very similar, so I can just focus on the actual operation of the shot. I can hear the click, and then I can either rotate it, or I can, and holding my thumb still, or I can even hold my thumb on it. Now again, this is not a video about my punching ability, because you're going to see a little bit of that, but what I want you to hear is you can hear that pre-click that's in this, just like I had on that index, and that creates similarities between them. Now a lot of people say, well, you're just stuck on stand. No, I'm not stuck on stand. You can do this exact same thing with t.r.u.ball. They've got hinges, they've got thumbs, and they've got indexes, and they're all very, very similar depending upon which ones you pick. You can do the same with Carter. You can take a chocolate and then find ones that are that kind of that flat, 4-finger hold that are also resistant and they're also a hinge. You can take that round Wise Guy one that Carter makes, and you can find that. I think it's in the Evolution, and I think it's in the small frame size. I forget what that one's called. And then they would be similar between the resistance, the hinge, and the thumb. So here I'm shooting the resistance one here. Now this one doesn't have a click, so that's what's going to be different about it. But I've still got the 4 fingers. I've still got the same weight. I've still got the barrel set where I want it. And all 3 of these have the ability to lock them in place where you can't release them, which is great for youth archers or anybody who's working on their bow and want to pull it back in the safety of their house, take a measurement, and then let it back down in. Again, that's fantastic. They're all the same. I get used to the same operation. The other thing I find that's really nice about these is they come in small, medium, large, and extra large. So you can fit them to your hand, and then you can buy each of the same releases in the same size. If you don't like the 4-ring, you can set all these up with 3 fingers instead of 4. If you don't like that big barrel, you can set them all up with the small barrel. If you like the barrel turned around, you can turn it around. It makes it really uniform. You can hear on this hinge. Now this is the hinge. This hinge has the click back in it. And you can probably hear the click as I go and draw it back. That click then carries back over to the first one, which was the clicker and the thumb drive. And again, it carries to the index finger click. So again, it gets me used to shooting them all with the click then. I like that. There's a lot of uniformity there. It really has taken my game to the next level. So as we finish up here back at the table, folks, I just kind of wanted to go through it one last time. This is the stand, one of their newer ones, with the strap, extremely positionable for youth. It's a good index finger, and because it has the click, it can really work against that punch. The stand in the traditional clicker onyx comes in 3 sizes. Love, love, love the fact that the small fits those small shooters. Has big barrel, thin barrel, also has the lockout in it. All 3 of these do, which is really good, again, for training with those young shooters. And because this comes in a click, I'm absolutely in love with this for the young shooters that want to go to a thumb, especially ones that want to thumb and hunt, because this will hold the line. For that more advanced shooter, obviously that's into target, there's nothing better than a click on a hinge in my mind, especially one that goes down to smalls and medium sizes, which again fits those young youth women and some of those younger guys as they're really getting into that target. This will not hang on the line. I've stated that before, so when you don't have this on your bow hanging there, it's probably not maybe the perfect one for hunting, if you know what I mean. It can be used for hunting, but again, they got to be really skilled with it. And then, of course, you've got the resistance. I keep this one around because every now and then when I've got really a severe, punch in a person and I really want to work with them, especially on the range, this is the ticket. Now, this one does lock onto your bowstring, so it would be a usable for hunting, but that surprise shot sometimes is really difficult when you've got that deer in motion coming across you and you can't stop them. So sometimes this is really for just those advanced people that just like that resistance pull. These are the releases I'm shooting, folks. These are the releases that I am training students with when they let me get involved with helping them purchase a release. I think if I had to pick a favorite out of this, it's probably going to be down towards this end because, again, younger shooters with a thumb seem to do really well with it, and of course with an index, and both of these click. Middle ground would be the hinge, and again, for problem solving and more of the advanced shooters, the resistance. Because I keep it all in the stand line, like I said, it all feels the same. If we switch releases, they can all be set up the same. They come with so much adjustability with the fact that you can go down to a 3-finger versus a 4-finger. They all feel similar. They have different barrels for different size hands. And of course, when it comes to the thumb sets, they all have the safety feature where you can lock it and pull your bow within a lock position. I can't say enough about that. That is absolutely fantastic. There's just no way around it. It allows them to pull it and you to do your work and then them to let it down safely. I hope this really helps, folks. These are the releases I'm using. These are the releases I'm teaching with, and these releases work really well. I hope this really helps you guys and helps answer the questions that I keep getting on the line and makes it so that people can understand how I function. There's a million ways of doing releases, folks, and a million ways of teaching, but this is what I found it to be the best. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and follow along as I got more great videos on both the archery and the reef tanks and the farm in general. Thanks, folks.